I'll take you to Parliament, where the minority is describing as inadequate government's allocation of $700,000 to support households affected by coronavirus pandemic out of the $35 million that they're taking as a loan facility from the World Bank. The Deputy Minority Leader, James Aveji, says households should benefit more instead of the amount allocated. He's been addressing the media. My colleague Joseph Opoku Gakpo, who is a parliamentary affairs correspondent, joins me with more. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Gifty.
Right, Joseph.
Just to quickly get into those details.
Right. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to quickly get into those details, James Aveji, who is the Deputy Minority Leader, he's joining us live here right now, just so we hear from the horse's own mouth the concerns he's been raising at the media briefing he's been addressing. You think the $700,000 as allocated in the loan, the $35 million loan from the World Bank, is inadequate for household and that it should have been more? What exactly is the concern you're raising?
Thank you very much, and then good afternoon. Yes, $700,000, which converts to almost around 4 million Ghana cedis. I don't know what that money can do for the household people who be affected or who are affected by this coronavirus. If you are borrowing, first of all, the president made an announcement giving hope to Ghanaians that $100 million have been put aside to fight the pandemic, not knowing that money is not available. It is only yesterday that they brought a loan facility of $35 million from the World Bank and the IMF to fight the pandemic, which we approved yesterday. Now, this morning, I made a press briefing to ask the president that, first of all, he should have told Ghanaians that that $100 million is not available. They are not looking for it. But he created an impression, giving hope to Ghanaians that the money was available. Now, the remaining $65 million is something that the president must also come out and tell us how they will get that money. In the report yesterday, they indicated that they will borrow that money, also borrowing, from a facility which earlier was approved by government for a project here in Greater Accra. So they'll be borrowing that $65 million to make up the $100 million. Now the $35 million which are borrowing from the World Bank, they have given us how that money will be disbursed, and they are in 4 components. Now one of the components is about contact tracing, how to locate the people who are affected by the virus and all those issues. And they have allocated over $7 million for contact tracing alone.
Isn't that the big issue now, that people may have gotten into the country just before the lockdown, that didn't allow people to fly into the country, get in, and that the entire nation is on lockdown now because they need to do aggressive contact tracing, they need to get to communities, they've mapped out the specific areas. Won't more resources be needed in that area so the pandemic spread, rather than a focus on maybe doling out more cash to those who...
First of all, who are you going to trace? The people who are possibly infected by the disease. Now you are also preventing people not to be infected. So you ask them to stay home, locked down. These people are people who live on daily income. People who go to work on daily basis and get money to feed themselves. We have locked them up now at home. They don't have any way of going out to go and do their by day or sell and make money. Now you are allocating $700,000 to provide for those people, to support them for the loss of income because they are home for the 2 weeks. Yet you are allocating over $7 million for the contact tracing of people who are affected.
So for you, out of the $35 million, how much should have been allocated, for example, to households in order to support them if you say the $700,000 figure is too small?
Oh, we are saying that they have the data on the number of people who are affected. And if you take the whole country into consideration, or the places that have been locked down, Accra and the environs in Kumasi, we are saying that 700,000 is woefully inadequate, comparing it with the $7 million, over $7 million for the contact tracing.
And how much will be adequate?
Well,
probably, is that same data based on where they are throwing out the $700 million figure? And they've...
It's not $700 million.
$700,000. And they've probably done their mathematics and come to that conclusion
Well, we think that is woefully inadequate if they think that they can go and share $700,000 to all Ghanaians who are affected by the disease, so be it. But we think that that money is woefully inadequate.
Even the broader bit of it, that's just the $35 million component. It's possible when the rest of the $65 million come in, and they give you the details of that, more may be dedicated to
that is a possibility. So if they can correct that error, where if it's an error in the first place, that they have allocated $700,000 to the household, the $65 million, which we are calling for the details of that, they should make provision for sufficient money for the household.
The final bit, just to clarify with you, you're also raising concerns with the coronavirus alleviation program that the finance minister announced the 1 million cedis on earlier in the week when he appeared before Parliament. You think government is not showing enough urgency in getting that out?
Yeah, first of all, it's not 1 million cedis. It's 1 billion Ghana cedis.
1 billion Ghana cedis.
We are reducing the cap, the ceiling of the stabilization fund from $300 million to $100 million. So there is $200 million available. So if you convert it into cedi, it's over 1 billion Ghana cedis. So the Minister of Finance says that they are going to use 1 billion Ghana cedis for the companies that are affected. Now, it was Monday, 4 days today, that the minister came to the House to announce this. Companies are not working. And if even that one, our issue is that it should not be only companies that are affected. Again, an allocation can also be made from that angle for the household. So we are saying that there is no urgency of the minister of that. You came to the House Monday, 4 days today. Why can't you come to the House and bring that program for members of Parliament to see how you are going to disburse the 1 billion? Who are the beneficiaries? Which company are going to benefit? And then if you are giving money to the household, how much percentage you are giving to the household? All those issues must come, but the minister is not coming. We have only today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday we are rising. So we are calling on the minister to urgently come to the House and bring that program so that we can approve it for Ghanaians to take something and live on.
Many thanks for speaking to us. James Klucha-Veggie is Deputy Minority Leader, raising those concerns there about the coronavirus alleviation program and also the $35 million World Bank facility. Let's get a quick reaction to that. The Member of Parliament for Bantama, he's a member of the Finance Committee, Daniel Ochimabwaji. So when is the Finance Minister coming to deliver that particular document on the coronavirus alleviation program to MPs? When he spoke in the House on Monday, he said he was coming the following day. It's been 3 days and the House is rising the day after tomorrow.
Well, but Joe, let's not forget that if the House rises, okay, and we have to be called back, we'll be called back. The President said we are not in ordinary.
But if it's an urgent issue, why isn't he dealing with it as urgently as it is?
There's a general formula when the government announces a bailout like this. Companies will apply showing hardship and justification why they need to be provided opportunity. I think if they are working on it and they are not done, we should be patient. After all, the effect is coming, as we are going on recess and people have been asked to partially lock down and stuff like that. And so I think it's going to come out.
The broader issue, $35 million, that's the World Bank loan that's coming in. Only $700,000 is going to households. The minority thinks it's woefully inadequate and that allocation should have been more than the $700,000.
I'm not sure if my honorable leader, James Avenya, was properly informed by his colleagues. Unanimously, at the committee level, we supported it. Whatever the components are to deal with the issues, we supported it.
It sounds like he supports it, except that he still thinks it's the figure which should have been up.
Joe, no country is fully prepared for this pandemic, right? And this is evolving. The response is evolving. If it means the president has to make adjustment for us to add more, do you think he's going to just sit down? No way. It's not going to happen like that. So I'm surprised he was raising the issue that $700,000 is not good. It's an initial effort that the government is putting forward. And I'm glad you picked him on the part that is going to companies. He said people are staying home. Yes, people are staying home. Some of them are operating small and medium-sized companies that also benefit from this 1 billion, $1 billion provision that the government has made. So I believe it's a matter of time. The president has shown true leadership in dealing with this pandemic, and we should all unite and support him. Even if mistakes are made in the process, they'll be corrected. Even if the government has to take actions without parliament, they can be brought in later for ratification. So I think we should unite. If we had to follow everything the minority is saying, probably Ghana will have been worse. Don't forget, when the problem started, say go and bring our students from China. Go to Algeria and Egypt and those countries that brought their students here and see the rate. So I believe sincerely that Parliament, both sides of the aisle, needs to unite and support the president in times such as this to deal with this pandemic.
And there's no guarantee that this may be approved before the House rises on Saturday, which is mainly the concern that MPs are raising. Now they're dealing with other issues having to do with the trust fund and all. Will there be adequate time for them to do this before?
As we speak, tomorrow the Finance Committee of Parliament is considering three referrals that at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we are working. If the minister is able to bring it in time, so be it. We'll come, we'll show up and work. If we have to be called back, it's not strange. We are not in all right times. We'll show up and support the president to continue to lead. As our friends in the minority, the least said about them, the better. But we also want them to also understand that the alternative government, there's not time to do politics with what we are trying to do to solve these problems. So they should come and let us all put our heads together and deal with the problem.
Daniel Ochimabwaji is the NPP Member of Parliament for Bantama. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament with those reactions to the concerns by James Kluche Aveji there. Just to round up very quickly, Gifty, on the floor of Parliament late last night, the Attorney General laid before Parliament the COVID-19 Trust Fund Bill, which is seeking to establish a fund that ordinary people can contribute to in order to allow for those who are suffering as a result of the spread of the virus to actually draw from. That document was referred to the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament earlier today. Their initial report approving that Parliament passes this under a certificate of urgency was actually approved at plenary. So the indication we get is worst case scenario, before the House rises on Saturday, they would have passed that particular legislation. But there were broader concerns that came from the minority MPs. Ben Ahiafo, who is a member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, pointed out that when the president disclosed details of this particular fund over the weekend, he named the board of trustees, including Sophia Akufo, who is the former Chief Justice. And then he pointed out that the document that's been laid in Parliament provides the specifics on how the trustees can be appointed and who should chair it. So he thinks it amounts to an illegality that the president has gone ahead to appoint the said trustees before the legislation actually came to Parliament. But he got a response from the Speaker, Professor Michael Kwe, who made the argument that in the details on who the trustees are that the president put out over the weekend, it was just an announcement of intention and not specifically an appointment. And so, as and when the document becomes law, the president will do the proper thing and appoint them. And so we gather that the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs is meeting this afternoon as they make some amendments to that particular document, which will eventually be approved between today and Saturday for that particular fund to become legal. Gifty.
Looks like a lot going on there in Parliament. Joseph, thank you very much for those updates. And I'm curious to find out whether the members of Parliament are observing social distancing in the House. Joseph.
They are in their masks. That I can say for certain that virtually all the members of Parliament, including the Speaker, are in their masks. You know, the way the chamber and the configuration doesn't allow for social distancing because the seats are very much close to one another, and there are a lot of them. And you know, the interesting bits and an observation that First Deputy Speaker JoyNews made recently is that following the lockdown, a lot of MPs are showing up on the floor to come see to business, probably because they don't have anywhere to go. That was the observation of JoyNews. So my point is, we have a situation where there are a lot of them in the chamber currently, but they are crowding up the seats as the seats have existed long before, and you don't exactly see a case of social distancing happening right in the chamber. Gifty.
Oh, we'll see how we'll see about that. And Joseph, thank you once again. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is our parliamentary affairs correspondent, joining us live from Parliament, where he brought us those details. The $3.5 million facility that we're getting from the World Bank, as you may well be aware, we have 70,000 of that amount being allocated allocated for households. The minority say that is not enough. They also have concerns with membership of the COVID-19 Trust Fund bill. The trustees, they don't really approve of the members on it. They've raised that as well. Joseph says between now and Saturday, we'll get a lot more things straightened out.